In a small, quiet town, there stood a mansion that had been abandoned for decades. Its name was Ravenwood Manor, a place shrouded in darkness and whispered legends. Locals avoided it. They spoke of strange disappearances, of shadows that moved on their own, of voices in the night. But nobody truly knew the reason for its curse. One man, a journalist named Ethan, had always been fascinated by the paranormal. He had traveled the world seeking haunted places, but none intrigued him like Ravenwood Manor. The rumors, the fear, the mystery, it called to him. Ethan knew it was dangerous. His friends warned him repeatedly, "Don't go there." "Ethan, it's not safe." But curiosity had a grip on him, and he believed he could capture the truth for his documentary. It was a night of a full moon. Rain had begun earlier, leaving the roads slick and reflective. Ethan drove slowly, his headlights barely piercing the darkness. When he first saw Ravenwood Manor, he stopped the car. The mansion was enormous. Paint peeled from the walls, and broken windows glimmered under the moonlight like dark eyes staring at him. The wrought iron gates groaned as he pushed them open. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of decay. A chill ran down Ethan's spine, as though unseen eyes were watching him. He stepped onto the gravel path, his camera ready, flashlight in hand. Every step echoed through the silent night. Inside, the main hall was vast. Dust coated every surface, cobwebs hung like curtains from the ceiling. Ethan set up his camera and began filming, narrating quietly to capture every detail. The floorboards groaned beneath his weight. He paused, listening. Faint whispers tickled his ears just at the edge of hearing. He shook his head, telling himself it was the wind or imagination. As he moved through the hall, shadows seemed to stretch unnaturally, moving in ways the light could not explain. A feeling of being followed pressed down on him. Upstairs, Ethan discovered a small bedroom. The room was frozen in time, a child's bed neatly made, toys scattered on the floor. But all dolls were facing the same corner. Suddenly he heard footsteps behind him. He spun around, flashlight sweeping the room, but no one was there. Then, in the window, a small girl in white appeared, staring at him. "Hello?" Ethan called, his voice trembling. The girl didn't respond. She raised her hand slightly and vanished before his eyes. His heart pounded. Written in the dust on the wall were words that made him freeze. "You shouldn't be here." Moving deeper into the house, Ethan entered the dining room. There, he found an old, leather-bound diary. The name inside, Lillian. The diary told of a girl haunted by shadows, voices in the night, and things touching her when no one was around. The last entry was abruptly cut off. "They are coming for me, and there is no one to—" A cold breeze brushed Ethan's shoulder. He spun, flashlight trembling in his hand. Nothing was there. But in the corner, a tall figure in black stood silently. When he blinked, it vanished. Ethan decided to stay in the house, hoping to capture overnight footage. Midnight arrived and the house came alive. Whispers called his name. Doors slammed violently. Windows rattled. Shadows slithered along the walls like living creatures. His camera started recording on its own, showing distorted faces in every frame. Ethan's pulse raced. The basement beckoned, and despite fear, he descended the creaking stairs. There, he found portraits of the family who once lived there. Every face had its eyes scratched out except Lillian. Her painted eyes seemed to follow him, cold and knowing. Suddenly the house seemed to shift. Corridors stretched, doors locked themselves, and screams echoed through the walls. Ethan ran, but every path brought him back to the main hall. The girl in white appeared again, floating above the floor. She pointed to a hidden door behind the fireplace. Ethan hesitated but opened it. Inside, the room was filled with old toys, clothing, and human bones. In the corner lay a skeleton clutching a diary identical to Lillian's, with a new entry. "Ethan, welcome. Now you belong to Ravenwood." The walls began to bleed black liquid, and shadows surged toward him. Ethan ran through twisting corridors that never seemed to end. Screams echoed, yet no sound escaped the house's walls. Finally, he reached the main hall. The girl in white floated before him. She smiled, a hollow, terrifying smile, and whispered, "You cannot leave." Everything went black. The next morning, the townspeople found Ravenwood Manor silent. No trace of Ethan. His camera was on the steps, still recording. The footage showed him walking into the house, but the last frames revealed shadows dragging him into the walls. Ravenwood Manor remains abandoned, waiting patiently for the next curious soul.